Hi guys, Mark here from Nomad Stays. Welcome again. We've got another live for you today. Another nomad who's been out travelling the world in recent months. And a bit like me, I guess, another corporate escapee. Somebody that has managed to get away from their life in an office, the same employer for many years, and sorry about that. And then start this new lifestyle, working for somebody. So let's bring in Kristie Sullivan. We'll just invite her through to the live. Just trying to work the technology. Yes, Instagram's not the fastest technology around. Let's see if we can get Kristie online. Okay. Oh, here she comes.
Hi there.
Kristie,
good
how
morning.
are you?
I'm excellent. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can now that I've unplugged my microphone. It's amazing how those things work, isn't it?
I'm new to Instagram, so this is all new and exciting land for me.
Yeah, well, it's certainly getting harder these days with all these different platforms we've all got to master in this new online remote working world that we're in. Kristie, welcome. Welcome to Nomad Stays. Welcome to the Digital Nomad Live.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm super happy to be here. It's really cool. Actually, I might be giving you guys a little bit of a tour where I am right now, actually. Maybe in a little bit, but
I can hear an
it's incredible.
accent,
it's like my dream come true.
I know that you're not in America right now, are you?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You're not in America right now, even if I can hear the American accent.
My Minnesota accent is coming out. No, actually, I am sailing in the Adriatic off the coast of Croatia right now. So, pretty amazing. Yeah, who would have thought a little kid from Minnesota would be here?
Actually, we're getting a few nomads living on boats at the moment. It's something Linda and I have done in recent years in our last 6 years of nomading, and it's actually really quite pleasant and relaxing, isn't it?
It's perfect. It is so perfect, and especially if you're with other people that are nomading and working, it's not that hard. I don't want to say it's not that hard to get work done, but it's not that bad because you can just, work for a bit, and then maybe you need like a little mental break or something, and then you just hop in the water and refresh, and it changes your mental state. And then you just get back to working, and it's really nice.
So let's talk about your work. Well, actually, before we talk about today's work, just tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I grew up in Minnesota and took a pretty traditional path, traditional childhood growing up, going to college. My mom encouraged me to get a degree in accounting because, it's safe and you'll have, a good income and stuff like that. So, so I spent about 20 years in accounting and finance in different roles. And then about a year ago, I had the opportunity to, I always had that travel bug. And so I had an opportunity to leave my career after, 20 years and just try traveling, try something else and just see what happens. And, have the confidence that I'll figure it out, so to speak. So,
I'm actually going to blame my early accounting years. Like yourself, I am an accountant and trained in university and a few extra things on top of that. But I was lucky. I actually got sent to a little island in the Pacific as a junior accountant to help out after a cyclone that devastated the island. So I'm going to blame the accounting and their lifestyle for actually getting me more used to remote working way back in the 80s, when Adam was a pup.
Yeah, no, I think I can see how how that would be real inspiring to do something else, you know. So,
Yeah.
so then about a year ago, I left to travel. So that's basically.
So you've just upped and left. You know, was it directly related to COVID? Was it partially related to COVID and time for a lifestyle change? What was the thing that just sort of pushed you over the edge?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. It was sort of an evolution more than anything. A few years ago, I was sitting in a women in leadership meeting, and people were talking. I don't know how the conversation got there, but they were talking about your dreams and chasing your dreams. And it's almost like I blacked out and just blurted out that I want to live somewhere internationally for more than a vacation, like, which kind of meant like at least a month, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that, because there was like senior leaders in the room, and they weren't super amenable to like a remote working arrangement. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I said it, it's the truth, right? And then I started making I spent the next couple of years researching.
Sorry, that was that career limiting move that just sort of accidentally snuck out. Here you are. You've been so concentrated on looking after the company, your employer, and everybody, and then you just couldn't bottle it up any longer.
Exactly. It just like came out, right? And so then I just spent the next couple of years like thinking about how I could make this happen. Like, it was the truth. It was my truth. I was authentic, right? And I made lifestyle changes. I spent the next 2 years like selling almost everything. I would joke that everything on me that I own is for sale. So I sold as much as I could. I significantly changed my spending habits so that I could save money. My initial goal was to be able to work, like travel, and then work remotely. But I also was like, well, if my current employer isn't like keen on that, then I should be prepared to. Then I just started thinking, I should just be prepared to take a sabbatical. I never had children, so I never had a maternity leave. It was like, I got to do something, and I'll figure it out. So I saved money over the years, and then we did this hike with my husband. We hiked the Grand Canyon in one day. So we hiked from one rim to the bottom and back up to the rim on the other side. In one day, it was like 18 miles of hiking and 13 hours of...
And it's not easy hiking. It is straight down.
Yes, I think it's like... I want to say we did like a mile of elevation change during the day or whatever. It was pretty intense. So in the course of this hike, I was like, this is it. I got to pull the trigger. I have to do this. I didn't think I could do this hike, and I did it. I got to do this travel thing. I can't just play it. So that was really like the impetus. And so then I said, April 1st. April 1st is going to be my day, because my annual bonus would be safely in my account by that time. And it was like a day, right? Yeah. And then, so I made that decision. April 1st was going to be the day. And then March happened. And then, so the hike was February. I was going to have that conversation in April. And then the pandemic hit in March. Yeah. And everyone went remote working. Mm-hmm. We had no idea what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I maybe just need to let this one play out a little bit before I make that kind of move. So I continued to work remotely with everybody else for a couple months. And then it was like, wait a second, we are proving that remote working works. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that many hiccups in our company or anything. So it was like, so then it was like early June, and I said, yep, I need to do this. So June 1st, I had the conversation with my leadership, and they were immediately supportive of me working 100% remotely, but I needed to get sign off from the more senior leaders. Yep. And I didn't get that until like 3 weeks later. I get a meeting invite from the COO on Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired. And so I was kind of nervous leading up to that. And I'm just thinking, and like my husband said, he's like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? They fire you. You were going to quit anyways, right? So it made sense. And then the next day happened.
It is an emotional roller coaster, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Because you've got a plan. You've started putting it into action. You've got your domestic things starting to be organised. You've got your support of the husband who's getting excited at the same time. And now it needs to grow beyond the household bubble. It actually needs to take into account your employer. And, you know, with any corporate decision, there's multiple players involved. There's senior, junior, there's specialists that need to come in and get involvement. These things don't happen all that well in the corporate world. And you know, we don't play those games very often. We don't need to do these big changes all that often when you are employed.
Exactly. There are a lot of
at the executive meeting, you know. Friday afternoon, it's the end of the week, the press is on.
So it's, of course it's remote, so it's on Zoom. And so we hop on the call. I hop on the call, and the COO is just him and I. And he says, he starts off the call by saying, I'd like you to take a couple deep breaths because this conversation is going to be a little, you know, serious. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but I'm still like, and so basically he says, we're eliminating your position. And so you have two options. We have a severance package for you that we can offer you, or we are creating this new position that is basically the same as your current position, except it's fully remote, but it is 30% less pay. And so it's like, ooh. So I ended up.
That, were you?
No. It's a weird time, so I can understand those decisions that they had to make and such. So it was COVID related because they said they were eliminating the position because, you know, it was a software company, so sales were like a SaaS stuff. So sales were struggling, but so I took the severance, and I was thinking, man, I was going to quit. I got paid for, you know, a nice severance package out of it too. So I wrapped up my job on the end of July and was basically on a plane to Serbia on August 15th. And I basically have been traveling ever since. So
interesting. Now, how did you choose Serbia as your first location?
Yeah, good question. Well, at that time, there was not a lot of countries that were open because of the pandemic. But we knew we wanted to go to Croatia because we just had heard. And so we were kind of strategic about it. So at the time, you didn't have to take a test or anything to get into Serbia, to fly into Belgrade. And they had a direct flight from New York. So really? It seemed like a pretty nice path for us. And then we were thinking, well, once we get into Belgrade, we'll be way closer to Croatia, where we kind of ultimately want to get to. So let's just get a test there. And then we could drive or take a short flight, because at the time, there's no direct flights to Croatia, and the requirement was a negative COVID test within 48 hours. So we were nervous about the timing of that. So that's how we ended up going to Belgrade. So we went to Serbia just for a week and hung out in Belgrade, and it was really cool. Got the lay of the land a little bit for that, for a future.
We were in Belgrade again about a month ago, and
oh, nice.
And we do some business in Belgrade, in Serbia. We're part of a startup accelerator program where we've been helping local Serbian startups get introduced to the world and so on. So we actually hung out with some of our clients and our friends there, and it's probably a couple of years since I was last in Belgrade, and it's already developed. the downtown area is really coming alive.
Oh, yeah.
They were saying the restaurants hadn't shut at all during the whole environment. The Serbians were unable to leave the country, which actually had a very interesting impact on their economy because everybody was there spending money domestically, and all the prices started going up and all the jobs went up. So it created a bit of a mini boom in Serbia.
Oh, interesting.
But the other thing we had, which was sort of after you, was the fact that they have changed their COVID rules. So we drove through, and Serbia was only able to be used or accessed for 12 hours on a transit visa, unless you got yourself tested by a Serbian lab at the time. Oh. So you can do that for business people, not tourists, but business people can do this after you arrive and to get the lab and then to stay longer. But of course, this is all new. It's hard to find in a new town, new country. So we end up just shooting through for the day and having to have all those hassles on the borders about, which passport, where's your certificate. Actually, they wanted to investigate the dog's certificate as well because we travelled with our chief happiness officer. So he was in the car with us and they were very keen on getting the paperwork right for us only last month.
Yeah, traveling with pets is a whole nother complication that, we don't have to deal with, but I can appreciate it being complicated.
Yeah, no, everything's solvable. And I think that's what you're saying is that, you have these broad plans and you start putting them into action. You're looking out for the money. Each step along the way is a small step. And even that requires some changes at the last minute. In this case, it was, where can we start in Europe? Great, Serbia's open. Let's get onto that flight and get into Europe via Serbia. And that changes on maybe a weekly, maybe a daily basis. And I think that's part of the new travel agility that we need to have.
Absolutely. We always said flexibility is like the number one word that we always have in our mind. It's like you got to be ready to like pivot and go somewhere at a moment's notice. Who knows what's going to happen, but
now, how did this boat thing arrive? This yacht thing sitting in the Azure waters of the Aegean, in summer.
Yeah. So we had, so we spent 3 months in Croatia last year. Okay. And in the course of that, we attended a digital nomad conference. So in Croatia, because they're just launched a digital nomad visa.
That's right.
In Croatia.
Yep.
And so
we went. Croatia, the new Prime Minister of Croatia has been on this for 5 years, and he finally got into that power position. And look at Croatia.
Nice. Yeah. So we were there. They had a conference in October. So we went. Mm-hmm. We were in Makarska then, and we were like, we have to go. And so we got on a bus and we went there, and we met a whole bunch of people there. And one of the people that we met is the founders of a company called 45 Degrees Sailing. And we learned about how they had to basically in a lot of cases, they're like historically, they were more like families and more vacationers is the people that they would take on these sailing trips. But with the pandemic, people weren't really going on vacations. So they kind of pivoted and said, we need to kit this vessel out for like remote working. Yep. And then market that as a thing. So that's exactly so then we met them, and it was like we spent our time mainly on the mainland last year, and so my husband and I were like, next year we're sailing the islands. And so I reached out to Nick and Mahina and I said, so we're on this 55-foot yacht and there's 6 passengers and 2 crew. And so I just threw it out there and said, I want to find 4 other people to join us, and that's how it all kind of happened.
Wow. Now, just because you haven't got enough on your plate, leaving the country, leaving your job, selling everything, moving to another country where you don't speak the language, you've also decided to start your own business.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You froze up there for a minute.
I was just saying that because you didn't have enough on your plate, you decided to start your own business as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I started traveling, I started a travel blog right away. And it was like, oh, well, this will give me a chance to like think about life, pondering life. I can share my travels, the things I'm doing with family and friends. And then also the sharing some of the kind of how-tos of traveling during the pandemic, right? Like how do you get tested in Serbia and stuff like that, right? And then I kind of kept doing that. And as I did that, and as we traveled, I started to figure out how time consuming it is to find accommodations was like the biggest thing of that could support two of us working remotely and so on, right? Yep. That are reasonably priced. They have comfortable workspaces, reliable Wi-Fi, all of those things. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about there.
We've designed our business to solve our own problem, which is exactly as you're talking about. Time and affordability, access to internet, all those unique combination that remote workers need. And so absolutely, you know, that's why we have instant bookings, only available rooms, all of those sorts of things, and some great deals.
Yeah, awesome. Yes. So with our experience in some of those challenges that we faced, it was like, I feel like people could really use a community, like a place to go of like-minded business professionals that want to travel and work remotely. So that's where the new online community that I started, I partnered with Mighty Networks, and I'm in the process now of starting up this private online community for people that want to like come together and share stories and experience and advice and support each other in this journey of travel and working remotely, especially because so many more people, I mean, the digitization, and we've proven remote working works. I just think it's the future of work. So
if I'm not mistaken, you're actually targeting the more executive, older style of person as well. People that have developed their career and are now looking at expanding that to other parts of the world.
Exactly. I think that there's this group of people that maybe historically weren't so keen on working remotely, but I think they may have recognized the market is shifting, and I think that they've recognized that they can do this. Now they have unique needs that are specific to them versus the maybe younger people on a gap year, or the type of worker where they could work from a coffee shop with their headphones and just write code and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. I think that there's specific needs to more senior business professionals where they may need more privacy, quiet space, that type of thing. So that's kind of where we're
very, very accurate. The technology to make all of this remote work has been around a long time. Society's cultural acceptance is rapidly changing, however, and that's actually really positive, I guess, is that you can, as a mature employee, executive, business person, you can actually physically go and travel full time. And with some planning and some good support organisations like yours and ours, you can actually enhance and grow your career. So you're not retiring, you're not stepping back, you're still continuing to grow a career and grow your business and so forth. And this realisation we're seeing growing tremendously around the world. I don't know how many conversations we've had with people in the last 12 months, particularly, that I'm never going back to the office. It's time to do my own thing. And by the way, I'm going to do it in 30 countries in the next year or whatever.
I think that there's so many people, it's just opening the doors for so many more people to achieve those dreams, those travel dreams, and seeing the world that they didn't know they could do before. Like you said, it was less accepted.
Back in 2007, when I spent a year traveling the world, almost all the continents. And I got back after I don't know, 50 countries or something, and I realised that there's a talent shortage right around the world. And this older executive group has a lot of talent, have a lot of experience. So I'm predicting they're actually going to be in quite good demand. And what they're not experiencing is what you've sort of discovered in the last 12, 18 months is how to do it. How to do it easier than doing everything yourself.
Yep. Yeah. And we're finding in the people that in the community and stuff, time is money. And so when you're real busy and you need to have the confidence that when you travel somewhere, it's going to be sufficient to meet your needs to be successfully working, right? And you don't have time to, we kind of joke, it's like, we don't have time to like run across town to save $3 on a SIM card. You know, you kind of, so it's just a different, you know, people in different stages of their journey and their career and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, have you got the opportunity to show us around your home at the moment?
Yes, I would love to.
Would you like to show off this beautiful environment that you're sitting in?
Yes, so right now, I just switched my camera on. I'm sitting at a table here. Nice. And I'm going to walk. This one, so like I said, it's 55 foot. And I know this bottom is not what you're that interested in, but there's a couple bedrooms and bathrooms back here. And
now
then,
you've got full head height. You don't need to be crouching over. You're on a big
correct. Yeah, like I can't even touch the ceiling. I'm 5'4", so I'm not super tall, but so we have a couple more bedrooms here and the bathrooms. Pretty nice. Sorry, it's kind of messy. Then we have the galley here. Lunch is being prepared.
Yes.
And then I'm going to come upstairs for, hopefully the lighting is good for the grand reveal. So we have other actually executive remote workers on board here, but they're enjoying the water.
Hello.
So say hi, you're live on Instagram.
Floating co-working space as well.
Yeah, so up here is the fun space.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see. Oh yeah, look at, there's a laptop. There's work happening.
We're working over here. We're working over here.
They're working. Oh, sorry, I spun too fast.
Look at that. Oh,
so pretty amazing.
Say hi, Mike.
Stunning.
Say hi, Mike.
Yeah, we're off the island of Var.
Ah, lovely.
So if you know where that is.
Yes, we've spent some time in the bar and guarantee you that that is one of the top spots in Croatia there.
Yeah. Oops. I think some people are going in for a swim, but we have...
Kristie, we're going to have to turn you off. I'm sorry. Listen, this...
Yes. It's too nice.
Just too inspirational for us. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will share...
And to do this and get paid is just amazing.
I know. It's so nice. And I will share this. They have done such an awesome job at 45 Degrees to making this, like... so easy to work. I mean, they got it all set up for working and
fabulous,
having fun. So I'm glad I got to share that with you.
Oh, so are we. Absolutely, so are we. Kristie, that's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your fast-moving, remote executive lifestyle that you've created for yourself in a very short time.
Yes. Well, thank you for inviting me to share that story. I'm always happy to do that.
That's fantastic. And thanks everybody for joining us again for another really interesting conversation with a Nomad. And yes, Nomad Stays does have some boats for rental you can stay at. I think we've got to sort of build a new relationship with 45 Degrees by the looks of their boats too. But yes, we're not strictly limited to apartments or hotels. We cover all sorts of accommodation. And we're now in about 56, 57 countries, something like that at the moment. So please come and check out the latest deals. We're getting an amazing opportunity being presented to us from all around the world, and we're getting to meet such amazing people as Kristie Sullivan here. Thanks so much, everybody. See you at the next one. Bye for now.